All right, guys. So I watched Andor season 2, episode 7 through 9. This is the third arc. I believe next week is going to be the last batch of episodes, and these episodes were pretty ding dang gosh darn good, were they not? Yeah, definitely the best arc so far. Because in my opinion, for the first two arcs, it would be like the first two episodes were like pretty good, and then it wasn't until like the third episode where it starts getting amazing. This is the first batch of three episodes where I thought like pretty consistently throughout the show was like amazing. At the very least, episode 8 and 9 were both pretty incredible. So we get into the beginning of it, and we see Andor has an injury, and we actually see him get healed by the Force. This is interesting because it's like, I don't know, it feels like Tony Gilroy, he like, this is the vibe that I get. It doesn't feel like he gives a shit about like the Force or Jedi or whatnot. So he like very like lightly drizzles in the Force because I don't think it was present at all in season 1 of Andor. In season 2 now we have this like weird Force healer person, but it doesn't seem like she's a Jedi or anything. It seems like she's just Force sensitive. And then yeah, in Rogue One we have like that blind guy who I think is using the Force. I don't remember if that was actually confirmed or not. But yeah, it was a neat scene. I think it shows sort of the jadedness of Andor versus the more like optimism of Bix, where and obviously we see this later on in the episode where it feels like Andor is about ready to like drop it all and move on, whereas I think Bix's trauma makes her like need to beat the Empire, and so she's like willing to give the Force healer a chance. So I thought that all of that was really cool. Actually seeing Cyril and the fuck is her name again? I don't remember. Mira, I think. The fact that they actually have conflict here is pretty interesting. Like seeing Cyril slowly be radicalized against the Empire, I think was actually pretty satisfying. And seeing Mira, I think I'm pretty sure her name is Mira. Could be wrong. Seeing her like slowly start to like really accept the brutality of the Empire, I think is all very very fascinating. And seeing the exploration of the ebbs and flows of people, either accepting or rejecting authoritarianism, I think is very well done. I mean, dude, the whole resistance sequence was nothing short of astonishing. The way that the tension built, hearing like the chants where they were like, "We are Gorman, fair and true," whatever the song was. It was like it was pretty epic. I mean, it was a step up from that the resistance scene in the first season of Andor, but even better, honestly. And yeah, like just showing they really nailed the brutality of seeing the Empire finally like crack down on them and start really going in on them. And it's like it's very like the Tony Gilroy is very effective at just making you angry, which is perhaps a little dangerous today in today's day and age. Uh, yeah, this part was especially devastating. Seeing Cyril realize that all of the shit that he's gone through is all for nothing, because he's been disillusioned by the Empire. They don't even really want him. They don't really value him in the first place. They were just using him. And then even like his enemies, right? Like Andor doesn't even remember him at this point, because I mean it kind of makes sense, right? Because like they hadn't really seen each other since the first season, I think, and it's been like years in the story. So yeah, it's like damn. his ending is very tragic, of course, him getting killed off. The K2SO droids were actually like terrifying. Some of the most honestly like brutally feeling like action and stuff that we've seen in Star Wars. It's like the way that he like threw that girl at the beginning, like he threw a girl across the plaza, And seeing her like land on the ground and just like dying immediately was wild. It's like one of those things where they didn't cut away. They just showed a girl like land on, I guess it would have been like a, like what is it? Granite? Yeah, like a granite floor, presumably her head cracking on the ground. It was very brutal. I mean, obviously we've seen stuff like Anakin's like charred up body, and that's pretty gruesome as well, but there's something about the way this was executed that was very disturbing. And yeah, very Terminator-esque as well. Yeah, seeing, oh, her name is Deidre. My bad. Seeing her, I interpret her losing Cyril as her kind of losing whatever bit of humanity that she had left, and my assumption is that by the time we get to the last arc here, she's just gonna be a monster. And I'm also getting that in part because I saw an interview with the actress where she was kind of saying, we're like, yeah, they say that you're supposed to like identify with the character that you're playing and try and see their point of view of things. But yeah, but also sometimes like your character is just a monster. And my guess is that because she lost Cyril, because she lost her last tether to humanity, in this last arc, I think she's gonna go like she is gonna be menacing and terrifying and cutthroat. That's my assumption though. Could be wrong. Yeah, and then you have the whole Mon Mothma speech / escape / heist. I guess they're stealing Mon Mothma. That's what I guess that's what it felt like. And this whole sequence was also amazing. Like seeing like all the different sides and all the like the rebellion infighting and not trusting of each other. It was all really good stuff. Like the speech was epic. It was impactful. I saw people saying, and I'm gonna be honest, like I've seen Rebels, but I forgot that there was a Mon Mothma speech in that show as well. So it's like, apparently this speech does undercut the moment in Rebels where Mon Mothma speaks and calls out Emperor Palpatine. Because I guess they initially did this in Rebels, and so I guess the chronology is this happens first. So Mon Mothma gives a speech to the Senate, then she leaves, and then the Star Wars Rebels crew pick her up. Yeah, it's fine. I guess the way you could think about it is the Senate speech was her like was her just like speaking out as a senator, and then the Star Wars Rebels speech was her like speaking out as just a rebellion member, as a rebel, I guess. I don't know, whatever, who cares. It's a good scene, whatever. Suck it, Dave Filoni. It's interesting as well, we see Bix leaving Andor. Because it's kind of like what I was talking about at the beginning of the video where, Bix, I think, like, needs the rebellion to die, right? Because of everything that they did to her, because all of the trauma that they put her through. She chooses to leave Andor because she knows, I guess, because of the Force Lady, that he's important for the rebellion. I will say it is one of those things where I'm like, okay, I don't love prophecy stuff, where it's like, oh, because of the prophecy, blah, 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 blah. But it's like, it's fine. It's Tony Gilroy's excuse to put the Force in a Star Wars thing because it's Star Wars and it can't be too grounded and raw, but whatever. At the end of the day, it's still an emotional scene. I will say, though, like, that my other complaint about this is just that after the end of episode 6, I was really excited at the prospect of seeing Andor and Bix go out and doing missions together. Like the end of episode 6 where Andor and Bix like work together to take out the guys who tortured her, it was like, that's dope as fuck. That was a really cool scene. I wanted to see them be a team. But Bix is just like off in the Yavin whatever, being like tending to their little hut, and it's like, I feel like it was a waste of Bix. I feel like she could have been more involved in the missions. And you still could have had this final scene where she decides to leave. But, oh well, whatever. Either way, I mean, still really, really, really great 3 episodes. Much better than the first 2 arcs. And yeah, overall, at the end of the day, I still do like season 1 better, just because I think it was more consistently great. I think that the first 6 episodes were a bit of a downgrade, and even though they're picking it back up with episodes 7 through 9, um, I still just like, and like I've seen people be like, oh, you don't get it. The first 6 episodes are build up. It's like build up should still be good, right? Not that it wasn't good, but like there's no reason why build up can't be just as engrossing. You know what I mean? But either way, let me know what you think in the comments down below. Like the video, subscribe, do all the things that YouTubers tell you to do at the ends of their videos, and I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.